Hey guys, I'm going to take you on a little tour of my garden today. So welcome to my garden. This is where I come out to have a few moments of peace and quiet every now and then. My kids aren't very interested in gardening, so that's fine. I've tried and tortured them enough, so this is now just a pastime for me. I'm sure at some point they'll perhaps enjoy putting seeds in the ground and watching them grow, but for now, this is kind of just my thing. It's not very big, but it's big enough. It's enough to provide us with a little bit of fresh produce during the summer. I would not make any claim that it's going to offset our grocery bill, but it is nice to just go out to the backyard and pick some stuff. So there is that. The one thing that it would save me money on is basil, because basil has become my passion project, and I've finally figured out how to grow it and get it to produce a lot. And so we get to eat a lot of basil without having to pay a lot of money for it. So that, I guess, is financially rewarding for us. But otherwise, this is not a save money scheme. I would think mostly with gardening, it's a loss if you count the amount of time that you put into it, but I digress. I'll take you around for a little bit of a tour of what I've got growing here and see how things are looking. So the portion of the garden that's in the ground, not the raised beds, I think it's about 16 by 16 feet. And then I have the two raised beds on the sides. That was just kind of to give a border, make it easier for us to keep the garden contained, keep the lawn contained from creeping into the garden. I've got my compost bin there in the corner, and I turn the compost into the garden usually spring and fall. If life gets away from me in the fall, then I don't do it in the fall, but every spring I do put compost down into the garden and turn it in. In this garden bed, the box, I've got a very healthy rhubarb plant that I should probably pick again, and some strawberries. The kids and I tried a project this spring where we painted these rocks to look like strawberries in an effort to confuse the birds that kept coming and picking at our strawberries, and I honestly think that it might have worked. We've still had a few strawberries that have been pecked at, but overall, I would say we've had a lot less loss of fruit compared to last year. And then this is the extent of me growing flowers in my garden. The kids got these flower packs from Harvey's when we went for burgers, and they started these seeds inside, so we moved them out to the garden. I like to plant my tomatoes along the fence. And last year proved to be really successful for that. The reason being, my neighbor put a new lawn in last year, and she watered it like crazy, and my tomatoes were so happy. So I figured I'd just go with that idea and run with it. Hopefully, I know she's not watering her lawn as much this year as she was last year when she was establishing a new grass, but she still definitely waters her lawn a whole lot more than I do. Back here, these tomatoes are really doing well. These are a new variety for me. These are San Marzano. They're a plum Roma variety. And I always buy the canned San Marzano tomatoes for making pizza sauce. So I'm wondering if I can make my own San Marzano pizza sauce with these tomatoes in the fall. It's really encouraging to me to see that I've already got fruit hanging on these plants, because it's only mid-July. And normally I don't have tomatoes producing at this point in the year. I've got those. And then over here, I think they're called a compact patio tomato. They're meant really to be able to thrive in a container, but I'm not a container gardener. I just bought what they had at the greenhouse when I was looking for tomatoes. So we'll see what these turn out to be like. And then beside them, I have cherry tomatoes. Those are a sweet million, and those are already producing some fruit as well. They're still green, but I'm sure we'll have ripe tomatoes soon. So beside my tomatoes, I've got 2 rows of carrots. They need to be thinned out soon. Carrots are always something that my kids look forward to harvesting in the fall because they're so sweet. They eat them like candy. Those are always probably one of the biggest treats for my kids from the garden. Then I've got a row of beets, and I'll use those to make beet borscht in the fall. And I like to have them roasted just with meat if we're smoking meat on the smoker. Roasted beets go really well with that. Then I have a row of kohlrabi. Kohlrabi is a vegetable that I've only ever grown, I've never bought it from the store. It's really an enjoyable vegetable. It's kind of, if I had to describe it, it's sort of like a cross between a radish and an apple. It's really crunchy. You don't eat the leaves. I mean, maybe you could, I don't know if they're edible, but it produces this really big bulbous vegetable above the ground. It's not a root vegetable. Then over here I have, it's not really a row of snap peas because probably only about 5 plants came up, but those are my snap peas, and I didn't give them anything to climb because I thought I don't have enough plants here to make it worthwhile to get something up here for them to climb. Those are producing okay, and then I have some volunteer something or others growing here. If you know what these are, let me know. But when I have plants come up voluntarily in the garden, I like to just let them grow, and it's a little bit of an adventure. If I have room for them, I'll let them grow and see what happens. I don't know if it's going to be some sort of it looks squash-ish, yes? Maybe pumpkin-y. I don't know. We'll see. I will have to keep you posted on my mystery plants. And then I've got 2 rows of burgundy beans. And I really like growing burgundy beans because they're really easy to pick. You can see here that they're this bright purple, and they're just easy to find on the plant, right? Because when you have green beans, they're sometimes hard to see, and so you miss them because they're camouflaged in with the leaves. But with burgundy beans, it's a lot easier to spot them. Same with yellow wax beans. Burgundy beans are fun though because they're purple, and the disappointing thing about them is that they do turn green when you cook them. The purple fades away and they just turn into a green bean, but I still think they're fun. And then I have 2 hills of zucchini here. One of them is a yellow summer squash, which is basically just a yellow zucchini. And then I have regular zucchini at the back there. And it looks like they're already producing to the point of being ready to pick here soon. So the yellow ones. And I spotted a really good sized zucchini back here already too. Where is it? There it is. Then in the front of the garden here, I've got half of my basil plants. I did a little experiment last year with my basil. I put some in the raised beds and some in the dirt. And I mean, in the ground, not in the raised bed. When I say put them in the dirt, they did so much better in the ground. I think the raised beds just dried out a lot quicker and they didn't do well with less water. I can see that these need water. The leaves are starting to tighten up. They don't make leaves that are as round and vibrant when they're a little low on water. So I do need to get out here with some water, but they're doing really well over here. I have more basil and tomatoes along the other fence that I'll show you in a second, but first, this is my other raised bed. There's a giant chive plant there, and then this is where I've got my cucumbers. I found that cucumbers seem to do really well in this raised bed. I have had them in the main part of the garden before, and they haven't done well there, but last year I switched to putting them into this box, and they seem to be doing pretty well here. And then along the fence here, I've got more tomatoes, the same varieties, just a few of each, and more basil down toward the end. This whole little section along the fence was supposed to be a raspberry patch. I ripped the grass out last year and planted raspberries. I was all excited about it. The kids have been waiting forever for us to actually have raspberries in our backyard. And they died. I don't know. This is the second time I've tried to grow raspberries. And people tell me raspberries are so easy to grow. You just put them in the ground. They don't care. Apparently I'm doing something wrong. So I don't know if I'll try growing them again. Third time might be the charm. We'll see. But for now, it just gives me extra space for tomatoes and basil, so that is not a loss for us. We'll definitely make use of that. So this is our rain barrel. We haven't had much rain this year, but we do collect rainwater for the garden, and I've got a hose hooked up to it so that I can drag it over there. It's slow going. It's a long process to get the garden watered with this because there's no pressure, right? It's just based on gravity in the barrel, but it does work pretty well. And I'm so proud of myself because I finally hung that hose hanger up on the deck so I don't have the hose laying all over the ground. And I've had that hanger hanging around for almost 2 years in the garage. I kept meaning to hang it up and I never got around to it. But look at me, I did a DIY project, you guys, and I hung my hose hanger up. So follow me for all your DIY needs. Well, we got everything watered for another week. That's about how often I come out here. Thanks for hanging out with me today in the backyard. I'm usually out here by myself, so it was nice to have some company. If you have any questions or advice about what I could be doing better back here, different things that I could be doing to improve yield or anything like that, I would welcome your input. And if you have any questions about what I grow or why I grow it, why I don't grow certain things, just let's have a conversation in the comments. Thanks so much for being here, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.